Hindu devotees have started celebrating the 45-day-long Maha Kumbh Mela festival in Uttar Pradesh's Prayagraj. Millions of Hindu devotees and visitors are residing in a sprawling tent city and dozens of pontoon bridges laid for river crossing on the first auspicious bathing day on Monday. Nearly 400 million people, more than the population of the United States, are expected to participate in the festival between the 13th of January and the 26th of February. That's nearly 200 times more than the 2 million pilgrims that arrived in Muslim holy cities of Mecca and Medina in Saudi Arabia for the annual Hajj pilgrimage last year.
This place has existence of death. Many people afraid of death today, but today they go and take a holy bath to remind themselves that this body will not be here forever.
Fires ripping through the Los Angeles area have killed at least 24 people, displaced thousands of others, and destroyed more than 12,000 structures while burning through an area larger than the city size of San Francisco. Life-threatening winds and dangerously low humidity are forecast for much of Southern California, officials have warned, adding that the winds will cause increased fire activity. In terms of the fires that continue to rage, firefighters have made progress on several fires in California, with the Kenneth fire, which burned just over 1,000 acres, brought under control early Sunday. The Hearst fire, meanwhile, which has destroyed 799 acres, is 89% contained. The unofficial death toll from the fires remains at least 16, although officials acknowledge it is certain to rise. Meanwhile, US National Weather Service issued red flag warnings for severe fire conditions through Wednesday, with sustained winds of 80 kilometers per hour and gusts in the mountains reaching 113 kilometers an hour. Los Angeles County Fire Chief Anthony C. Marone said he believed elevated critical fire weather conditions will continue through Wednesday. Listen in.
Unfortunately, those conversations are not going to begin until the next predicted red flag ends on Wednesday. So please rest assured that first thing Thursday, we will start talking about repopulation in evacuation order and warning areas.
For the first time since October last year, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and US President Joe Biden have spoken over the phone. The development comes as US officials race to reach a Gaza hostage and ceasefire deal before Biden leaves office on the 20th of January. Now, Biden and Netanyahu discussed efforts underway to reach a deal to halt the fighting in the Palestinian enclave and free the remaining hostages there. The White House said in a statement this after the two leaders spoke by telephone. Israel's senior delegation joined the indirect ceasefire talks with Hamas in the Qatari capital Doha on Sunday, with both sides indicating progress in the negotiations. The indirect negotiations between Hamas and Israel have made progress towards a ceasefire agreement, Palestinian officials also said on Sunday. Now, according to Hamas sources, the proposed deal includes two phases. In the initial phase, Hamas will release several Israeli hostages, including women, children, elderly individuals, and in fact, humanitarian cases as well. In exchange, Israel will release dozens of Palestinian detainees, withdraw its forces from parts of Gaza, and facilitate the return of displaced residents to their homes in northern Gaza. After the initial crush of personnel announcements for US President-elect Donald Trump's incoming administration, now the nominations process officially begins. Senate hearings are scheduled this coming week for several of Trump's picks for the cabinet. Many have even met with senators individually. Now they will go before the committee overseeing the agencies that Trump wants them to run. The coordinations of Japan, the US, Australia, and India seek to convene a foreign ministers' meeting in Washington after US President-elect Donald Trump's swearing-in ceremony on the 20th of January. Japanese Foreign Minister Takeshi Iwaya, Australian Foreign Minister Penny Wong, and India's External Affairs Minister Subramaniam Jaishankar will attend the inauguration. The US is expected to be represented at the meeting by Senator Marco Rubio, Trump's pick for Secretary of State. South Korea suspended President Yoon Suk Yeol will receive his annual pay rise despite his impeachment for briefly placing the country under martial law, the government has said. Now, Yoon's salary will be increased by 3% to 262.6 million won, in line with the standard for government officials. Since his impeachment in December, Yoon has resisted attempts to investigate and arrest him for alleged insurrection and abuse of power. Not only this has placed the country deeper into political turmoil. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said on Sunday he was ready to hand over captured North Korean soldiers to Pyongyang in exchange for the return of Ukrainian POVs held in Russia. Zelensky's offer came hours after South Korea's National Intelligence Service confirmed Ukraine's announcement from the previous day that it had captured 2 North Korean soldiers. Now, in a post on social media platform X on Sunday, Zelensky said, and I quote, "Ukraine is ready to hand over Kim Jong-un soldiers to him if he can organize their exchange for our warriors who are being held captive in Russia. The soldiers are the first captive North Koreans to survive. If you look a little deeper, they represent a PR opportunity for Kiev during a precarious moment for Ukraine as Donald Trump returns to the White House." Bangladesh's foreign ministry on Sunday summoned Indian High Commissioner Pranay Verma over border fencing dispute. The development came hours after Dhaka alleged that India was trying to construct fences at 5 locations along the Indo-Bangla border, in alleged violation of a bilateral agreement. Mr. Verma was seen entering the ministry around 3 p.m. local time. His meeting with Foreign Secretary Jashimuddin lasted approximately 45 minutes. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar will visit Spain during the 13th and 14th January to review bilateral ties and discuss regional and global issues, the Foreign Ministry said in a statement on Sunday. Now, Jaishankar will hold talks with Foreign Minister Manuel Albares and meet the leadership of Spain during the first visit to the country as India's External Affairs Minister. The discussions between the 2 foreign ministers will focus on the entire gamut of bilateral relations and regional and global matters as well. Jaishankar will also address the annual conference of Spanish ambassadors and meet the Indian community there. Chinese health officials are claiming that the rate of infections with the flu-like human metapneumovirus or HMPV in northern China is declining. The news comes amid some international concern over a potential pandemic. Concerns surfaced in recent days over a surge in HMPV infections in northern China after images circulated online of hospitals overrun with mass patients. The World Health Organization, meanwhile, has said it has not received reports of any unusual outbreaks in China or elsewhere. Experts say HMPV is unlike COVID-19 and that it has been around for decades and there is some built-in immunity to it. Most children are infected with the virus by the age of 5 years. However, there are no vaccines or drugs available to treat HMPV. Embattled South Korean President Yoon Suk Yeol will reportedly not attend the first formal hearing of his impeachment trial this week due to concerns about his safety. Yoon's lawyer made the statement ahead of the first hearing by the Constitutional Court Tuesday. Investigators are still trying to arrest Yoon for questioning in a separate case concerning his brief imposition last month of martial law. The Constitution Court previously announced that oral arguments for the trial would begin on Tuesday, with 5 sessions scheduled in total, concluding on the 4th of February. Sudan's military and its allies have taken back a strategic city from the Rebel Rapid Support Forces, or the RSF. This deals a major blow to the notorious paramilitary group, which the United States has accused of committing genocide in the country's ongoing civil war. The recapture of the city of Wad Medani the capital of Jazeera province, came more than a year after it fell to the RSF. Wad Madani had previously been a safe haven for displaced families in the early months of the war. The conflict in Sudan started in April 2023, when simmering tensions between the leaders of the military and the RSF exploded into open fighting in the capital Khartoum and other cities across the sprawling northeastern African country. Croatia's opposition-backed President Zoran Milanovic, a critic of the European Union and NATO, overwhelmingly won re-election for another 5-year term on Sunday, defeating a candidate from the ruling Conservative Party in a runoff vote. Near-complete official results showed Milanovic won nearly 74% of the vote compared to his challenger Dragan Primorac, who gained around 26% votes. Now, this is according to the results released by Croatia's state election authorities after more than 70% of the ballots were counted. The election was held as the European Union and NATO member country of 3.8 million people struggles with biting inflation, corruption, scandals, and a labor shortage. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum delivered her report on her first 100 days in office Sunday in Mexico City, addressing security and the relationship between its neighbor to the north. Sheinbaum's first 100 days have been marked by the constitutional reforms inherited from her predecessor, Andrés Manuel López Obrador, that reshaped the basic institutions of the state. Changes in security and economic and political uncertainties marked, above all, by the start of Donald Trump's second administration in the US on the 20th of January. A fire in a restaurant in the northern Czech Republic has killed 6 people and has left 6 others with serious injuries. Firefighters say the blaze broke out before midnight on Saturday at the Uttar restaurant in the city of Most, northwest of Prague. It took more than 60 firefighters until 1 a.m. to get the fire under control. Firefighters say the cause was likely a gas heater that overturned. The injured were being treated in hospitals in most and nearby cities. An investigation is underway. Scientists have unearthed nearly 200 dinosaur footprints dating back 166 million years to the Middle Jurassic period at Duers Farm Quarry in Oxfordshire, England. Now, the remarkable find first spied in 2023 when quarry worker Gary Johnson sensed unusual bumps in the ground while extracting limestone for road construction, has been nicknamed, quote-unquote, the Dinosaur Highway, as a nod to the extensive pathways left by these prehistoric creatures. While other Jurassic pathways have been documented globally, the recent highway discovery in Oxfordshire is the largest known dinosaur track site in the UK. Hundreds of Londoners headed down to the underground on Sunday afternoon, stripped down to their underwear and travelled around a bit, trying to look as though nothing unusual was going on. As if this was the official no trousers tube ride, an annual event with no point other than injecting a little levity into the bleak midwinter. No deep meaning, no bigger motive. The only goal was to be silly, if but for one afternoon. The first stunt in vain was held in New York in 2002, the mastermind of local comedian Charlie Todd. Now, the idea took off, and no pants days have been held all over Berlin, Prague, Jerusalem, Warsaw, and even Washington, D.C., among other international cities. A young gorilla rescued from a plane's cargo hold is recovering at an Istanbul zoo, while wildlife officers consider returning him to his natural habitat as well as how to cope with the illegal trade in animals passing through the city's busy air hub. The 5-month-old gorilla was discovered in a box on a Turkish Airlines flight from Nigeria to Thailand last month. Now this after a public competition, he has been named Zeytin or Olive and is recuperating at the Polonezskoye Zoo.